Hi guys, today I'm back with another 3 foundation test video. I'm comparing 3 from Rimmel today. The first one is the Lasting Finish 25-hour nude. I forget what exactly this is. I feel like it's not as high coverage, but I'll check that for you. The next one is the Rimmel Wake Me Up, which has been around for a while, but I've never actually tried it before. And the last one, which I'm actually going to start with, so it's probably backwards, is the Stay Matte, which has been heavily requested recently that I try because I'm all about anything that helps to control oil throughout the day. So I thought I would start off today because I have a few days this week where I can do these videos and finish them off for the end of the week, but also today I have a dentist appointment, and I don't know about you, but a dentist appointment is probably the ultimate foundation test for me because I don't like the dentist. And you know, it's kind of face touching and stuff, but also it's the anxiety of being at the dentist. So I thought I would test out the matte one today, and I'm also going to be using a foundation brush. I usually use my fingers, but I thought I would test something else out at the same time. If I was going to use a brush, it would be this one from Real Techniques. It is the buffing brush. And I thought throughout the series I might also try some different techniques of applying the foundation. At the end of the series, I'll kind of review those and let you know what kind of foundation I prefer, what method of application I prefer for what kind of foundation. So let's kick off with the application of this. So first impressions, it blended out really nicely to a really nice coverage. I expected it initially when I first kind of put it on, it was very opaque and thick. I thought that it was going to be a little bit like that Natural Collection creamy concealer and kind of set and not blend out that nicely in the areas that I took a bit of time to get around to. I thought it was going to have to work really quickly, but I didn't. It blended out really nicely. It did settle into some dry areas. It didn't settle into any pores or even my fine lines around my eyes. I thought that it was going to, but it didn't. But it did settle around the dry areas, and I think that's not such a major issue given that it is supposed to be kind of a mattifying foundation. So it's more aimed towards those of you with very oily skin, potentially not combination / dry, more on the oily side, which I'm less and less as I get older. But I still do want that, that kind of mattifying coverage. In an ideal world, I'd want that in my T-zone and potentially on my chin, and then something a bit dewy everywhere else, but it doesn't work like that, does it? But first impressions are definitely very positive. I feel it's a very nice finish. It doesn't feel particularly heavy. I like the way that it looks. We shall see how it lasts throughout the day. I'm just going to put a tiny bit of concealer underneath my eyes and a little bit of powder and the rest of my makeup. I'm not really going to do anything heavy on the face because I don't want it to affect how it lasts. But then I will come back to you at the end of the day to show you how it's fared hours later. It's the end of the day. I actually am kind of alarmed at how good the lighting is in here for like 6 o'clock at night in England in March. Maybe I should start filming all my videos in here. But I've come into the bathroom because it's the best light at this time of night to show you, let's see, can we focus a little bit more? I think this is pretty remarkable for how well the coverage has actually lasted and the finish. The fact that it's still relatively matte, I can't really see any shine, and we're looking at maybe 7 hours absolute minimum that this has been on my face. I'm really impressed. It definitely has clung to dry areas. There's dry areas in my chin, around my nose, and on my forehead that it's not great with. But that's nothing that a good kind of exfoliate and moisturise before I apply it wouldn't fix. And if you are particularly oily, chances are you don't have that many dry patches anyway. I'm really impressed with this. So thumbs up for the first one. Let's see how the next one fares. So the next foundation we're going to look at is the Lasting Finish Nude. I have used this before, and I know that once upon a time I did quite enjoy it. So we shall see how this one applies. Pretty nice coverage. Actually really similar to the Stay Matte in the way that it's covered, I think. And a very similar finish, but not quite as dry. So if you are more combination like me and you do have those dry areas of skin that you don't want it to kind of exaggerate and cling to, this might be better. So far, first impressions would say this is going to be more for those of you that are a little bit more combination, but the actual finish for me is really nice. We'll see how long it lasts because the Stay Matte was completely amazing, totally kind of blew me away with how well that lasted, especially how well it mattified. And I'm still looking for this to keep me relatively oil free, so we'll see. So again, we're working with the very last bits of light, but it's been about 6 or 7 hours, more like 6 today. I should really make a note of when I've started putting my makeup on when I'm doing these challenges, but about 6 hours, which I think is, again, almost a full day. The coverage is pretty good. I mean, the areas that I feel like it's kind of faltering around my nose and stuff like that and around my chin are areas that I would normally conceal anyway, but because I'm doing this, I'm only putting the very tiniest amount of concealer under my eyes, and leaving the rest of my face just a little bit of powder. No kind of shimmery blush. I've been using matte bronzer very sparingly on this kind of area and not trying to affect the outcome of the foundation test. So all the areas that I feel like it's broken away would have had more concealer on there anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. The coverage has stayed pretty much intact. I'm really impressed with it. And partway through the day, I was a little bit worried that by the end of the day I was going to be super oily. But I think although, the focus is, I'm losing the focus a little bit. There we go. Although I am a little bit glowier than I would like around this section, I definitely have shine. It's not too bad given that it's not supposed to be a mattifying foundation. And I think more as I grow up, I want to say, as I age, this is more of the finish that I'm looking for. It's a little bit more youthful and dewy, and although I do like to be matte, I wouldn't mind something more like this that looks a little bit nicer when I first apply it. The finish was definitely a little bit more flattering on me, and although it doesn't stay matte, I don't really mind touching up throughout the day. And I feel like this one would maybe only need one touch up, maybe at midday when I start to get a little bit shiny. It would probably be okay for the full day. The final foundation that I'm going to be testing is the Wake Me Up. It's an anti-fatigue foundation. The reason that I have been put off by this one in the past is because I know it's got some glitter in it. Whenever I wear like a highlight or anything that's got any kind of shimmer to it or illuminating properties, I am a little bit concerned that when I get outside into the sunlight, I look like a disco ball. So we'll see, but I'm going to apply this now. First impressions, I absolutely love the way that this looks on my skin. It looks like my skin. It's definitely it's a medium coverage. It's a decent coverage, but doesn't look like I'm wearing makeup at all. I'm really surprised by it because I didn't think that I was going to like it at all. I thought it was going to be, well, I don't know what I thought it was going to be, but I definitely had kind of preconceived ideas of what I felt like this foundation was going to look like, and it doesn't look like anything. It really doesn't look like anything. It just looks like my skin. It's just evened everything out. Covered some little areas of redness, and it feels very, very fresh. It smells really fresh as well. I don't know if it smells different to the other foundations, but it's the first one that I've actually thought anything about the scent as I was applying it. It's quite a strong scent, but it's very fresh and I liked it. And it's just very, very light. I like the finish. It's very dewy, but I would add powder just because I always do. But I have a feeling, although this may last, we shall see, I don't think this is going to be great for oil control. So it's been at least 7 hours because I'm back from work now. Full disclosure, I did have to blot because by about midday I was super shiny, shinier than I wanted to be at work at my desk. So I did blot a little bit. No powder or no extra product, I just kind of blotted with some tissue to get rid of the excess oil. And the coverage itself is not too bad, but it's definitely breaking away. I'm just looking in the mirror down here. It's definitely breaking away around these sections that I did get particularly oily, around my chin, my forehead, and this section. It is looking a little bit ropey. This is my favourite of the three for how it looked when I first applied it. The finish was amazing, and it felt so natural. I mean, even now it feels really nice on my skin, and I feel like it does look quite natural and a little bit dewy. It's one I would wear again, but it's probably the one that didn't last as well as the other two. I think as the weeks progressed, I've shown you 3 different foundations that have gone from more aimed at oily skin, mattifying, to more aimed at dry skin, those that are looking for kind of a more dewy, natural finish. I think I've accidentally gone through in that order. So if you are looking for something that it's going to last you a little bit longer and keep you matte and you are not particularly dry, I would highly recommend this. I think this is a great product, and one that has totally surprised me. I mean, I know that when I mentioned this on Instagram, there were some people that really didn't like this, so bear in mind that all my reviews are going to have to be taken with a pinch of salt. It's just what I feel about a product. It's not necessarily what everybody's going to feel about a product. And you know, if one of you have tried one of these products and you really dislike them or you really like them, please leave a comment below, because it's all about kind of balance, these reviews. I don't want to rave or really pan a product that you absolutely love and you feel terrible about it. We can't all like the same things, but my skin has been very oily in the past, and I know that when my skin is more oily, this is something that I would definitely have reached for. And although it's definitely more combination and going to the dry side now, and this wasn't great for those areas where I do have a little bit of dryness, I still would use this because it lasted so well and kept me matte. The one that I would probably be most inclined to reach for is the Lasting Finish Nude, and I did look up what the difference was. There's an original lasting finish and a nude lasting finish, and this is slightly less coverage from what I can tell, although please feel free to correct me on that one. but I believe that's what the nude means. That's the one with the white cap rather than the red. Haven't tried the original, the red, but this one I really like. It's just a nice medium coverage, which is what I prefer, nothing too high coverage, but it is buildable, and something that looked nicer on my skin than the Stay Matte when I first applied it. Didn't last quite as long and wasn't quite as mattifying, but generally looked a little bit more flattering on my not so oily skin anymore. Whereas this one was a little bit too oily for me. Again, I probably could mix these two together. I really liked the way this looked on my skin originally. In fact, even I might try these two mixed together, because this had a lot of what I wanted and this had a lot of what I wanted, but they each had their kind of downsides. I would say this is my happy medium, but in theory, I'd actually quite like to use this on certain areas of my face and this on certain areas of my face, which I also might try. But this, I would say, is definitely more aimed at people with dry skin. I know that Laura, who has recommended and recommended and recommended that I try this, she's Laura's Eye View here on YouTube. She has been hammering me to try this for the longest time, and she has very dry skin, so it's probably something that if you have got dry skin, you're going to enjoy more. So I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope that you're enjoying these series so far, this like comparison. I think I'm going to call it Wear and Compare. Let me know what you think of that name, it just came to me. I think that's what I'm going to call the series, and specific brands that you would like to see in the future. Rimmel was highly requested, so I tried to get that one done first, but if you've got another one you'd like to see, then I will pop out and get some different brand foundations to try for you. But yeah, like I say, I hope this was useful, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!